Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim flam sauce with the awesome bay, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon and happy Thursday, everybody. It is another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, and we're going to be jam-packed full of action today as soon as I get us up and running on the ever-growing South Florida, actually, Let's Eat South Florida Facebook group that I think we're going to be crossing the 97,000 threshold soon. I still don't know what we should or could do for the grand 100,000 celebration. Maybe I'll just dive into a freshly baked cake that I'll have somebody at Evelyn's bake for me or something like that. Gentlemen, Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz, how are you doing today?
I'd rather see you dive into the cake than jump out of it.
Yeah.
Naked.
You should do one of those things like on Fear Factor and dive into a giant paella, like when they have those celebrations down on Southeast 8th Street and they make it like a paella for 8,000 people. And you take a dive in off the high board. That'd be awesome.
That would be a good thing, like the world's largest paella for 100,000. You think Joey over at Cafe Seville would be up for that, or would he beg off?
You see those giant vats sometimes when they have those festivals, like Calle Ocho festivals or whatever, and you'll see like a huge vat of paella, always interesting, and you're thinking, I want some of that. But diving right into it would be your style. That would be awesome.
Well, then it would ruin it for everybody else. I would have them make a special.
Like I said, it would be your style. It would ruin it for everybody else.
No, I'm not a party pooper. I just like to ruin it when it's just you two guys. But hey, we're gonna have a fun time today because I'm supposed to call in, and I don't know if he's on the horn yet, but sometimes I'll give him a gentle reminder. But Anthony Bruno, our friend of the show, who we've worked with him in the past for some of his places like Andy's Live Fire Grill, but the one and only, the namesake that started it all, Anthony's Runway 84, just went through a major renovation, a reboot, a rebranding. I don't know if his name is on or off. I've seen signage on the building that still says Anthony's Runway 84, but then I've seen other things that indicating now it's just Runway 84. We'll clarify all these things right now, and I think we have on the line with us the one and only Anthony of Runway 84. Are you there, Anthony Bruno?
Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's I guess the afternoon. It creeps up
Afternoon.
quickly. Yeah. How are you, Anthony? It's been a while.
I'm doing great. Great. How you doing?
Good. Is it a complete a crazy just pandemonium chaos, or is it controlled chaos? Which restaurant openings?
It is controlled chaos. We're limiting kind of the reservations that we get for now, but it's going very smooth.
That's good to hear. And I left you alone for a while because I didn't want to be one of those people that would like nudge and text every 2 seconds.
I kind of liked it too. I know. I like that. I appreciate that, by the way.
Because I bet you were getting a hound.
T-shirt. I was gonna make a T-shirt walking around. It'll just be a couple of weeks on the T-shirt.
When already?
Just a couple more weeks.
It's like the kids on the car ride. Well, I think we both would have lost the prop bet because when you guys closed down right after Mother's Day, you said you were aiming for right around the boat show, late October. And I said, I'm going to say, I said, maybe if you're lucky by Thanksgiving, but my guess was going to be Christmas, New Year's. And we were all wrong, unfortunately. But you know what? Good things come to those who wait, right? It looks spectacular from the photos I've seen. How would you describe it?
It really is. I would describe it as a retro version of something you'd see in the 60s and 70s on Queens Boulevard or Manhattan or New York, Jersey type thing, like a supper club Italian restaurant, which my father was always in. When I was a kid, he always had supper clubs with Italian food.
Where did you grow up specifically? Was it in New York, in Staten Island or something? Well, where was it?
Brooklyn, but I really grew up in Franklin Square. Franklin Square is right there by Belmont Racetrack, which I'm sure you might know.
Defo might know it a little bit too, but
Franklin Square is about 4 or 5 miles east.
Yeah.
of that.
That's
Yeah.
when the jockeys, unfortunately, if they get injured, that's where the ambulance takes them. I think there's a hospital in Franklin Square, but we want to think
Yeah,
about
Franklin General. They take them
Yeah.
Franklin General. Yeah,
Yeah.
Franklin General.
Defo, do you have anything for our man Anthony? Do you
Well,
have,
yeah, I mean, it's very exciting because, so far, rave reviews. Obviously, I mean, you've been in this business a long, long time. What sort of anticipation did you have about the reopening and how, Mayo's a staunch old timer, real curmudgeon type, and he doesn't like to see change. But you felt it was important for the restaurant to evolve. A lot of people like the old decor, but what were your thoughts about it? Before you opened up, and you must be very satisfied to see all of the really wonderful responses that are being, spoken of how the remodeling all ultimately went.
Yeah, I mean, being there so long with so many steady customers, and people just are comfortable there. So yeah, a little worried about that, but it was just time. Don't forget, I've been there since I'm 20 years old, 40 years
Wow.
looking at that airplane.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It was just time. Sometimes you just know. It's kind of like an athlete knows when it's just time to, whatever, switch teams or quit or whatever it is. So sometimes it just was time. It was good timing. I brought a couple of partners in that I've done business with before. Pat Marzano, who him and I grew Anthony's Cold Fire Pizza, and I'm involved with Mark Falsetto and Taco Craft. So makes my life a little easier, and I'm a landlord, which is fantastic.
That's
great.
good.
Which makes it a little better. But honestly, the place came out fabulous. Anytime you go into something like this, you worry a little bit. It's not going to live up to the expectations. But I tell you what, it's stunning, absolutely stunning.
Yeah,
And,
I can't wait to set foot in there. I was going to let it die down for a little bit, and I'm not. Again,
wait till you see it. It's wild. It's really unbelievable.
Is it true that you're going to start
Actually,
doing that?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, but
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. I read something. I guess it was in the Sun Sentinel about you maybe relaunching the Friday lunch service, which I used to love, and there used to be a whole crew.
Yeah,
somebody.
we might do like a power lunch. Yeah. Once we get rocking again, get everything a little more organized, we'll probably
All
do
right,
something.
I have to arrange to do a live Lunchbox broadcast on some of those Fridays again.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That
Yeah,
would
it'd
be
be
fun
great.
because I can't wait to get my hands on some of those beautiful dishes that look great, like that twice baked potato. So you got these new touches, but you also kept a bunch of the old things, right? The old favorites, like
We kept most of all the old favorites we kept, and we added a couple of high end steaks and a couple of little moves. Got a nice, beautiful Caesar salad, tableside. We make it. A nice beef carpaccio.
That sounds great because that's one of the lost arts is a really well prepared tableside Caesar. Do they use? Are you using raw eggs? Which to me is the only way to use it, but you got to give all these warnings and all this stuff. Or
when we make you got to use raw eggs.
Yeah. It's anchovies, like you use like a real.
You got to use anchovy. Yes, same way. Yeah, well, very traditional.
Okay, that makes me very, very happy. So all right, there were 3 questions that were not asked by the Sun Sentinel in their piece, and I also saw a really nice write up by Lainey Doss in the Miami New Times. I posted that on the Let's Eat group today. I thought she really captured the essence of the place. But I did post these questions yesterday, and Mark Falsetto was nice enough to chime in. But I'm going to ask you again. But number 1 question that was not asked previously, but will there be the signature mussels that were complimentary in the past?
We will have mussels, but they're not going to be complimentary.
Okay.
Time to pay up after 40 years. Yeah.
All right, scratch Mayo off some of the early.
Defo is a little disappointed. He was a big fan of those. I'm not the biggest mussels fan, so it was one of those things I would pick at. The sauce was so good.
What's funny? I don't eat them.
That's funny. Yeah.
I haven't eaten mussels in 40. I can't eat them. I've seen so many of them. I couldn't eat a mussel if you paid
me. Well, again, they're still on the menu along with like those baked clams. Oregonata look tremendous. It reminded me of some of the places in Brooklyn where I grew up. Was a place in Coney Island called Carolina, and then Gargiulo's that had those baked clams. Oh, those was so good, and they look outstanding there. So, all right, even though there's no mussels, though, you were telling me earlier, you do still offer the complimentary bread service, correct?
We got we got the nice bread, and we make a little we have our Italian bread we always have. We make a little focaccia now and put it in there, and we got our nice Parmesan, Pecorino Romano dip with olive oil. It's fantastic.
Nice. All right. Question number 2: on Thursdays, will there still be the martinis and meatballs, or meatballs and martinis?
Yeah, I think there will. It's just not right away. Yeah, not right away, obviously, because we're in the middle of the season, and obviously an opening is just gonna be busy. So I think once we get out of the season, we'll start doing that again.
Okay, because that was hugely popular, and instead of calling it a ladies' night,
No, it was great.
rented-
It was
yeah,
great.
no,
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
a lot of fun. And number 3 is Vincenzo back. Is he?
Vincenzo's still there. He is still there.
I owe him a little bit
Still
of
there.
gratitude. So, because I was in there and I was anyway, that's another story for another day. But I do have to see him again. I can't wait to get in there. So, so
Yes,
tell
he's
me,
still there,
tell-
and
yeah.
no, I was saying, like the whole kitchen's back. The guys who've been cooking there
Nice.
for years, so that's why it made
Nice.
the opening so much easier than it would be with the restaurant starting from scratch, which I've done before, which is torture. So it really makes it so much easier because we got the whole kitchen back, everybody's back, and the servers are back who were there, the bartender Cindy's still there. So I hired some new people, obviously, but the whole nucleus and the whole crew that was there is still there. Toto, everybody. So
Nice. Lubie, you got something for Anthony?
Yeah, I was just curious because it's so funny, the sports, and that's why I like doing the shows we do, because the sports and food worlds cross over so much. So much times the greats in sports know when to move on, know when to transition. Saban is getting to his 70s and he's totally changed his offensive perspective. You've seen that with Bill Belichick. I find it interesting that as much as we make fun of Mike Mayo, Anthony, you knew, look, I love this place. It's doing well, but let's see what we can do next. How do you just get a gut feeling? I mean, everything you do is gold. Everything you touch turns into gold. And it's just interesting to me how you just know when to move to where. And a lot of times you set the trend, you bring back trends. How do you just know that? How do you just feel it?
I don't know. I think, you know what, restaurant business, when you could get a restaurant busy, there's really nothing like it.
Yeah.
There really is, other than being an athlete or being a rock and roll star. Really, the wave of affection. I think when it gets to the point that it's not as fun anymore, because I've always had a good time and I've made a few bucks, that's when you know, okay, you got to do something else. Time to change.
Yeah.
So
No,
I think
you're
that's how I
keeping
felt.
it fresh. No, that's good, and I think it's good also to. I mean, as much as I like that whole airplane, runway motif, and like you felt like you were sitting in a 737. Now it kind of gives me a little bit of trauma because it brings me to some flights on Spirit Airlines and maybe JetBlue where I've been waiting there for 12 hours on the tarmac. So I kind of like the whole.
One thing about Runway, the old Runway, was it was unique.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Completely unique, and you couldn't. That was it. You just said, "Oh, the airplane with Italian food, right?" I mean, everybody knows, so.
I don't think you're getting the veal chop from Anthony's on a Spirit Airlines flight anytime soon. But I have to ask you a question though, because I've been curious about this, and maybe you would have the answer. I don't know that anybody else does. We tried to get it out of John Congemi, who's very close with Dan Marino, but and nobody closer with Marino that I know of than you, Anthony. Seen him many times. Socializing with you at those mozzarella nights down at Frankie's place, Frank Tellerico's place, the Ocean Manor.
Yep.
Was he going to go into the game in that last game of the regular season against the Jets? Do you know? Because he was on the sideline. He had his jacket off.
His wife talked him out of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
By the way, speaking of sports, one more thing. At the new Runway, we have a Dan Marino room.
Nice.
There you go.
Yes, we have a
Private room, right?
It's
For
Dan Marino room. So Danny moved up. We had a Dan Marino table. Now we got a whole room. So
That's nice, and that's going to be for
very
all
excited
the
about
functions and the
Listen,
private
can we
dinners.
talk about something a little more important for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who do we like this weekend? Because I can't pick a game. Who do we like? It's been,
Don't ask me.
You
Tell
can't
them how
pick
I
football
did,
anymore.
Defo.
Yeah, Mayo's 1-9 in the postseason so far. against
I'm
the
1-9
spread.
against the
Brutal.
spread. I almost went 0 for 10.
Mayo.
you can't pick
Francisco.
these teams anymore.
Wow, it's
It's
rough.
Yeah.
crazy.
It's rough.
Pretty wild. I mean, it seems like the consensus of guys that we've talked to, Anthony, like Philadelphia to cover the 2 and a hook, and everybody's in love with Cincinnati over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
The
So
only
those are the 2
problem
most
is they
common
made
picks that we've been
Chiefs-
getting.
They made the Chiefs a home dog.
Yes. They
Yes,
playoffs.
unbelievable with Mahomes.
That's unbelievable.
They did.
With home. So it's almost like you almost sucked into betting them. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's like the
tough.
sucker
It's tough.
lines. I hate that. I hate when you get the sucker lines.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
feeling a
that
little
sucker
bit.
line.
I think I like Philly, but again, with my picks, just go the other way, and you'll be like golden.
Mayo
But,
right now.
Yeah.
I-
I picked San Fran to win the Super Bowl this year.
I did
oh
too.
well, then stick with it. Go with the
Yes.
Cinderella story.
But I have
Why
to
not?
say, there's a stat in this game that just jumps out at me, and I can't get past it.
Okay.
Philly has 75 sacks.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Most in the NFL.
Brandon Lang talked with us
Yeah,
today.
75
They have like 5
sacks.
guys with 10
That
sacks.
just jumps out at me. Yeah, and that kid is doing great for San Fran, but I mean, they're going to put some heat on this kid. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
And
at some
Jalen
point.
Hurts looks great. He looks unstoppable. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I don't
again,
know.
home field is usually such a big advantage in these games, and like you said, might
Yeah.
be the clock striking midnight for the Cinderella story, and for the seventh round Mr. Irrelevant might be reduced to Mr. Irrelevant again. But we'll see. That's why they play the games. I'm focusing my attention this weekend, Anthony, on the Gulfstream Park. Saturday they got that big Pegasus, and I do like some horses there. I do like.
Nice. All right.
Defunded and White Arbario are my two horses. I think it's a 4-5 box all the way home. We'll see what happens. But anyway, getting back. Yeah, a couple more things about the restaurant. So, is your name on or off? I've read different things, but I saw a sign that
my name is on some. Well, my name is on the sign.
Right.
And then some, everybody just called it Runway anyway. Nobody ever called it anything. So I'm going to Runway. I'm going to 84. So just to keep it certain things, just keep it Runway 84. I got the name in lights still.
And the most important thing is you're the landlord, so that's the good news.
yeah. The crooked landlord. Yeah.
Oh man. So can't wait to get in there. How many covers did you do opening night? It was like Tuesday was official opening, right? Did you limit it?
We did about 250. Yeah, we limited to about 250. So it was nice, just enough, busy enough that you got a little action there and nothing crazy that the new people can't handle.
And there's a patio? Is there's like an outdoor dining section? How's that going to work?
Got a beautiful patio. Yeah, the city let us go out 5 feet more, and it's not 100% done yet. It's all going to be covered. It's going to have the fans. It's really beautiful. The patio's going to be gorgeous.
So that the total capacity.
And it all opens up to the bar. So the patio now, when you walk on that patio, the wall that was there with the sign is now gone. That's a door. That's a accordion door that will open up right to the bar. The whole thing opens up.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to checking it all out. It looks gorgeous from the photos that I've seen. And I love a good old, if you're going for that Rat Pack Vegas theme meets Copacabana.
We got great music, too. We got great music at night, too. We got some really great, some good stuff going on there.
So it's going to be beautiful. And then meanwhile, Andy's Live Fire Grill is still there, right? So for the nights where it's packed at Runway, you could always just peel off down the block and get some of the good grilled fish and things like that. For a while there, you had the Runway 84 items like were on the menu at Andy's, like on certain nights on Thursdays. Is now that Runway is back.
We were doing Runway nights there, but right now what I did is I left the meatballs on there. I got the little Italian sausage with the broccoli rabe. I got a nice snapper fra diavolo. So we left a few items on there.
All right, that's good. So you get a little taste of it if you can't get in right away. I know people are clamoring on the group that it's all booked up for the next 6 weeks, and there'll be plenty of time all summer long to get in there. So I know it's the hot spot now. Yeah. So
anyway, buddy, you got a connection, so you should be able to get in.
I don't know.
Not after he stiffed Lorenzo the last time.
No, I didn't burn it.
I cleared out Marino's table for him, and he gave him nothing. He claimed he only had no cash. I only had a credit card.
That's it. We're all good. It looks fantastic. Congratulations again, you and Pat and Mark. It's really the dream team you got going there, and it's nice. Now you can kind of kick back and fish because Mark looks like the workhorse there. He's a hustler, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's got that young guy. Keeps moving, Mark.
It's got the energy. So
that's good. Yep.
Beautiful. All right. We'll be in there. What is your favorite dish in there in terms of like if you're going in there? I mean, I know you're going to tout the new steak program, but like of the old dishes, what was your go-to?
I mean, I love all the fish over there. Whether we make the swordfish, the snapper reganata, I love. The old school, we make chicken scapadillo, the way you're supposed to make it on the bone. I love that dish. The artichoke, so I'm kind of like almost everything. I made the menu, so I guess I got to like everything.
Yeah, all good. All right. Well, we'll see you in there hopefully real soon, Anthony. Congratulations once again. It's the toast of the town. All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Be well.
Thanks. Good luck this weekend. Yep.
Okay. Thanks. I'll need it. Centani. All right. Well, that was good. We got a little update. Hopefully that we will get the meatballs and martinis night back on Thursday nights. Hopefully there'll be a power lunch on Friday. I love going in there for lunchtime. It used to be when I was a news writer, and there was a whole clique of local politicians and judges and all the kind of downtown power scene would go in there for lunch a little bit. It was a good good way to kick off the weekend. A couple of martinis and meatballs there too. So we love Runway, and I'm glad they kept his name on there a little bit. So he's not feeling too out of the mix, and he's a big part of the mix. Everybody loves Anthony Bruno, and he's done, like you said, nothing but the golden touch.
He does. It's like,
yeah.
I give him credit for saying it. Like in a restaurant with all its success, it's not easy. Like that's of all the businesses, it's a really, especially down here. You say with all, I'm talking with a lot of over 4,000 restaurants,
right?
Which is a great thing for the buyer, but for a restaurant,
I'll tell you what his key to success is. Anthony loves people, and he loves putting the hospitality in the hospitality business. Like you just go, he's one of these guys. Look, he doesn't need to be anywhere now. He could just disappear for months at a time and just go fishing to his heart's content. But half the time when I just pop into Andy's Live Fire just for a quick drink or something, like at 4:00, he's there. And he loves bouncing around between his various restaurants. He loves just catching up with people and schmoozing with people. And because he, again, once he cashed out of a coal-fired pizza and he was no longer involved with that, he just was itching to get back in the whole restaurant game. And that's when he said, all right, I got to open a couple more places. He opened up Andy's Live Fire Grill. Then he opened up that Pronto Kitchen that COVID kind of did it in, but it was really had good food. It was more of a fast casual pickup place. But that's no longer there. But then he teamed up with Mark Falsetto and started getting involved with Taco Craft, and they're expanding that and hoping to turn that into the next Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. The man, he's basically the anti-Trump. He whatever he touches turns to gold. As
gold. Yeah, it's crazy.
So good catching up with him. Hey, speaking of Trump, I gotta put in a shot. Did you see that there was going to be a name change in the Pegasus Cup for this weekend there, Defo?
No, don't tell me it's the Trump Pegasus Cup.
No, but not the title sponsor, and not even an equipment change or a rider change. This is a name change. The horse formerly known as Riding with Biden is now known as Hiding with Biden because he keeps hiding all his classified documents.
As I said before, I think George Santos should ride that horse. I'm sure he could get down to jockey weight if he really tried.
Jose's older, fatter brother.
Jose's cousin, yeah.
Actually, younger, fatter.
They'd be announcing that the horse was 100 pounds overweight, but I don't think he goes 220. But that would be interesting. A lot of people immediately want to throw that horse out. Is it because of the name? Riding with Biden?
Hiding with Biden, hiding documents with Biden and Pence and Trump. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny because people
they like defunded. A lot of people like defunded. That's the clever, Horseplayers Horse so far. And White Barrio.
Yeah, no, that seems to be everything I'm hearing, both from Kate and Bradar, and I was chatting with Pat Utter from Shenanigans. He's all pumped up for the races this Saturday, and his box is the same as my box, and now I'm a little worried. But he said 4, 5, 10, which is the 3 horses I like, which is White Barrio, and Defunded Baffert, and the Cyberknife, who even though still ridden by Florent Giroux and supposed to retire right after this race to stud, he is the class of the field. I don't know how he's training, but he's been installed.
Caton put a curse on the horse.
I know,
inadvertently, and not really meaning it in a nasty way.
No, I heard.
With Florent Giroux, it kind of it moves some ugliness to the front there a little bit, even with a lovely person like Kate Brader.
Yeah,
but she said she probably won't be rooting overwhelmingly so for this horse as she has been in the past.
Bitter, but and this is for those who don't follow the sport. Kate and Brader, a friend of the show, TVG analyst extraordinaire. Her husband,
and a great human being, really a delightful young lady all the way around.
Her husband, Doug, for a long time, was the jockey agent for Florent Giroux, who came over from France and climbed his way to the top. And he was a top 10 jockey.
Made this guy a star.
Huge races, grade 1 stakes races. Seemed like there was a couple of months there where he was winning grade 1s every other day or every weekend at a different track around the country. whatever reason, sometimes jockeys get whispered in their ear by other agents promising them the moon, and he switched agents. So
He signed
now
with
that
Don King. It's like a boxer signing with Don King. It's over. This happens all the time, though, but usually not at that level where you have a guy, my buddy, Steve Parris, a good friend of mine from radio days, was a radio salesman. And he threw in the towel on that to become a jockey agent. And his first jockey that he had that he was representing was Ramon Dominguez, who went on to a Hall of Fame career. He had him when he was at Calder Racecourse, but of course, when Ramon became more well known and established, naturally, all of these Sharpies from New York started calling. And, he looked at my buddy Steve and said, hey, thanks for the start. Went on to, Hall of Fame stature elsewhere, although Steve had him doing very well for himself. But that happens, fairly commonly, especially with like a new guy that makes it big and then he dumps his original agent. But not necessarily like this, where two guys have been together for a long time, like Giroux and Doug Brainerd. It was an unfortunate thing.
If I knew what was going on in a jockey's head, that would be a pretty scary place sometimes. Because, but anyway, we wish everybody continued success and health, and obviously,
and we'd like to see that horse out of the money. Let's put it that way. Even though you love it.
Well, that's my hunch horse for my mom's sake, because Cyberknife is a radiation treatment, and it's helped a lot of people. It survived,
and you've cashed tickets on this horse, so you have every reason to embrace.
Treated me well. Actually, I could and should just walk away at this point and just do a bet against at this point. But the way I'm running, he'll probably win by 15.
Yeah, so I'm not betting anymore. The only thing I'm betting now is tennis over/unders, number of games in a tennis match.
You're not betting anymore. You're not betting any less.
It came down to the absolute wire. I mean, like down 2 points.
Okay, you're a complete sick person, and it's 188 a minute. If you're betting over/under on the number of games in a tennis match at the Australian
20
Open,
and a hook. That's all I needed was a tiebreaker.
Live on the show this morning. It was actually sort of weird.
Did they also offer like how many vowels would be in the names of the finalists in the women's finals? Because the over/under on that is about 20 right now, right?
You got Sabalenka and
Rybakina.
Yeah,
there's a lot of vowels.
Hey, two girls that can really hit it, man. I mean, these girls are both really good power players with big serves. So interesting matchup. I was going to bet Sabalenka to win the Australian Open before the tournament, and I didn't. And I want to say she had to be somewhere between 5 and 10 to 1. I want to say maybe closer to 5, but it would have been a nice position.
Me a losing ticket right now. You doing like I would have, should have, could have?
No. I mean, this is why. I mean, at this point in time, I should just give up gambling altogether.
Right,
in fact,
you should.
My mother used to leave that number on my message machine all the time. She'd say, "Jeff, call me back. My number's 888 admitted." And I was like, "Wow, I know you're not going to be answering that phone, but
smart woman."
You see the new thing, though? This is good for you. Have you experienced this yet? They have a new thing where you call like a shrink on the phone. Talkiatry. Have you seen the ads for this?
Well, they've had all of those things going on during
but
the
it's
pandemic.
really gone big now. Talkiatry and Talkiatry, I guess it's .com. And you can actually charge this off to your insurance. They supposedly have like real shrinks. So when you get in one of those moods after you talk to Dickstein for an hour, you can just call somebody, and before you do this show, you can be happy again.
Why do I have to call somebody and pay when I could just get my therapy on this hour here?
Well, we beat you to a pulp. You know that.
No,
we
but
let you get away with anything.
Good.
Yeah.
You challenge me. You make me question my actions and behaviors, and then I realize that I have.
It's like you're being interrogated on Homeland. This show. That's kind of what it reminds me.
Let me put my spotlight on.
There you go, Mayo. How many times did you call that chef? Exactly. Hey, I got something here. I don't know. You're a food truck fan, aren't you?
Well, we gotta take a break, and then I had the beards. I wanted to praise the beard winners, but real quick, what's going on with the food?
Well, yeah, I just noticed this. It's actually popped up courtesy of the Pompano Beach Parks and Recreation Department, which I'm a big fan of. They do a wonderful job, and they're having the Food Truck Frenzy coming up tomorrow. That's 27th from 6 to 9 p.m. And they're going to take care of, obviously, all the cooking for people, dinner. And they have like 10 or 12 food trucks of significance. Cousins Maine Lobster, one of them. Four Corners Cafe, the Cuban Press Gourmet Truck, Giovanni's Gourmet Italian Ice, which is a standalone place that is outstanding on Commercial Boulevard. Been there forever. Halo Project, don't know about that. The egg roll truck looks really interesting.
I love
that would be one.
I've had the egg roll. I've had that.
That one looks good.
Food, and it's pretty good. No, these food truck rallies.
They have Island Boys, Conch Shack. So a lot of variety. World's Best Gyro. Yeah.
Let me ask
Zero.
you, Mayo.
Zero.
He's
Yes,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
gyro. What do you want? That also bothers me. Shirley does it's zero. I'm like, it is what it is. I'm eating it. Leave me alone. So, anyways,
Gyro. I have a
I know,
gyroscope.
I
I'm
know
going to
you have
eat a
a whole.
gyroscope.
Okay, let
Go
me
ahead.
ask. Okay, and I know food trucks have now just become moving restaurants. That's what they are now. I get it. But again, as though I'm young, I'm old and thinking, wasn't the idea of food trucks a quick, affordable food? Like when a food truck meal is $40, like that weirds me out. Like when you see
Yeah.
a food truck party like
When
that,
you could have gotten a Carbone and had dinner for two.
exactly. Shouldn't it be a little bit more competitive pricing? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm asking you, Mayo, because you know, I come with like a preconceived notion of expecting more
You're
competitive
expecting bargain
prices.
prices. Yeah,
So
exactly.
you expect that you are not getting a full white linen sit down meal with a
Yes,
server,
there's no
and
none
you
of
figure that therefore it should be lower price. But however, just as restaurants have rent, food trucks have gas tanks, and the price of gas has gone up. And no, they are not as affordable. Well, I don't want to say affordable. They're not as inexpensive as they used to be. The food trucks. They have, like everything else, had higher food costs and higher fuel costs, but they are still lower than going to a full scale restaurant. So the whole problem, not problem, it's just the way of the world. Inflationary trends all over. So now what you used to pay $10 at a food truck, you're paying $15 to $20 at a food truck. What you used to pay $20 at a restaurant, you're now paying $35 to $40 at a
yeah, I
restaurant.
guess.
And then it just becomes down to, well, are so many people going to stop just going out to eat or even going to these food truck rallies that everybody's going to stay home and cook? And when the economy does a downturn, that's usually what happens. And then it gets a little hinky because you're going to start seeing restaurants close again. And so it's not just COVID and a pandemic that could crush an industry. It's, recessions. And we saw this in 2008. We saw this after the dot-com bubble burst in the year 2000. It's cyclical, especially in Florida. But to answer your question, yeah, it bothers me a little bit. I do want to pay a lower price if I'm, standing up and eating at a table
Yeah,
or having a schmutz drip down my shirt.
Well, another thing
But
about it too, when you go to one of these kind of things where there's like 10 different
yeah,
things,
yeah.
and you might want to try a few of them.
Yep.
If they're giving you like a $30 portion or something, and you go to one truck, you're probably not going to be able to sample anything else. So now
no,
you're in a situation where your eyes are wide open. I want a taco. I want
if
this. I want
you
to try
go
the
with
gyro, and
one
you can't do it.
person,
Yeah,
yeah, you can't really, unless you're me, because I have 5 stomachs and I just
yeah.
shovel 5
You
different
probably
things
hit
in.
all of them, and maybe
Yes.
even call ahead and see if you can't
Yeah.
get priority treatment.
But the best way to go experience is with a group of 4 or 5, and then you
There you
each
go.
take a little nosh and
All
try
right.
a bite of this or a bite of that.
Anyway, that
Uh,
sounds like fun. It's
but
69
so
tomorrow.
yeah, so okay, that's up in Pompano, and a lot of
450
places.
Northeast 10th Street. It's not at the park itself, which
Dania Casino had a food truck rally last weekend on a Saturday night. I think they're instituting that and doing it like once a month.
it was very
Uh,
successful.
see,
Our good friend Scott Savin, the innovator, who was running Magic City Casino for many, many years, and I guess he's still there, even though they've changed hands. I'm not sure if the transaction has been completed yet. But he had tremendous success when food trucks first were becoming popular, and he would stage in the parking lot a big food truck night. And it was extremely popular, but I think it was more along the lines of what Lubie was talking about, where
That's
you
right.
yeah,
could
he
go
felt
get
like
yourself like a $3 taco or something.
you're getting a deal. Yeah,
Simple.
but nowadays there are no more deals. It's all it's tough out there.
What
But
do you do with a tip then? Do you
oh
still?
yeah, so Andy is saying, "What's the
But it's not
proper?"
wrong.
Now
Like
look,
you, like
even at a food truck, it's not necessarily the owner that's handing you the
I
food
get
or
it.
preparing it. That's usually a 2 or 3 person crew. Like our man Tom, Tom T up there.
He does a
He's
lot of.
now based out of more of a kitchen ad of the Nobo Brewing Company in Boynton. But he started off as a truck that he was subletting that was out front,
Yeah.
and he had the lovely Heather was his assistant. You should absolutely tip. They're preparing food and handing you
What?
food.
Like a
What?
20 to
You
30%.
I'm a generous person. I'm a person who burns $30 in Exacta boxes like it's nothing. So I'm gonna still give 20%. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, it's only a food truck, so I'm only gonna give 10%." I give my 20%, especially if my food's getting comped. But the
Yeah, it's one of your endearing, redeeming qualities.
35% then. If that's
That you're a
yeah,
reasonably
yeah,
decent
it is.
tipper. Yeah,
But
that's
no,
good.
I still suggest people tip at least 15%, up to 20%, even at a food truck. And if you're tired of all the tipping, you just have to build it into your cost of going out to eat. And if you can't afford the tip, then you know what? I hate to sound like one of the people on Let's Eat, but you should maybe really just think about staying home and cooking, but not eggs because they're just as expensive. Nice box of pasta is still going BOGO for about 2 for $1.69. That lasts a
Nice.
while, especially with all those jars of sauce that I still have in my
I still have a jar
pantry.
left.
Hey, by the way, did you see the Washington Post plagiarized us? They ripped us off. Did you see
they do?
that?
Well, what do they do?
They did a jar marinara sauce taste comparison
Oh yeah,
with
wow.
wine tasting with a panel and with 12 sauces, and they have a picture up there. I got to send it to you guys. If you go on Let's Eat right now, it's one of the most recently posted. I just approved somebody was posting their story, but it's like the same exact how I had my whole, picture of all my jars lined up, and they did the same thing. They did some of the same brands. They bought the cheapy version from the Walmart market, the Great Value marinara. They bought the Prego and the Ragu. They had the Carbone and the Reals. The only surprising thing, now their methodology wasn't chugging it straight from the jar at room temperature, like I sometimes like to do, or pouring it into little cups. But they did it. They heated it up and served it over, like they were able to ladle it on some just fresh pasta, ziti, something.
Yeah, but you guys didn't like doing that. Like that changes the
No,
flavor.
to me, I want to have the pure sauce experience. Now, they came out with Rayos on top as a clear-cut winner, and they had Carbone in the middle of the pack.
No,
And it was because two of their people gave Carbone the highest marks and called it rich and really deep, which is what me and Tom T said. But two of the people on their panel, for some reason, found Carbone like completely, like, I don't know what they said. They didn't like it at all, and they scored it like even below Prego, which I don't even know. I don't even know who was on their panel. But I want some, I don't know, royalties, or I want a retraction, or I want credit, because it seemed like who knows that the Washington Post actually watched the Lunchbox.
Yeah, I guess
it's very possible. I mean, you have connections in the print journalism field, and probably somebody noticed, hey, this Mike Mayo is, creating quite a stir. Maybe they saw some of your TikTok videos of you slurping spaghetti sauce down, and next thing you know, they're running their own contest. They're taking it straight out of the page of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
There you go. Hey, so I wanted to.
But you got to really bury these guys and have a gefilte fish tasting contest, and then
see if they copy that.
If they copy that, then you know they're stealing your material, my friend.
Blatant theft, which imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Every now and then, when you were doing sports talk and guys are ripping
How
off
many
your material, you would throw something out there just absolutely, completely false, and have somebody report on it, which was great.
How many jarred gefilte fishes are there? There's Manischewitz and what?
One is too many. I mean,
Straits.
for me, yeah.
Straits and Manischewitz, and that's it. So it's a 2-jar competition.
There has to be some other one like Rabinowitz's or something. And there has to be another guy that's out there making gefilte fish. No,
I don't know.
I don't want Manischewitz to have them.
It's not a big, strong market for that. All right, let's talk about our friends at Visit Lauderdale.
Notice it's always on the bottom shelf at the grocery store, like the very bottom shelf.
Gefilte fish.
Yeah. It's never featured prominently. Like, hey, look at this. We got gefilte fish today. Fresh.
Are you done? Killing me. You and Sarni, by the way, I got to tell Jim Sarni, my Svengali.
Sarni owns you. Sarni owns you.
No, he doesn't. I finally rebelled. He keeps
rebelled?
sending me and pushing me, trying to get me to eat the newest sandwich creation at Arby's. Like every other week, Arby's has this new sandwich of the
week. They have a lot of new stuff, but are they selling any of the old stuff? Because there's never anyone in the drive-thru.
And the Arby's that was close to my house is no longer, and it's now a Charlie's cheesesteak. So I don't even have one close to me.
And you mentioned something. I asked you about a place when I was driving down to Dania for one of the shows there at Grandpa's, and there was a place called Hot Chicks Fried Chicken. But I believe, and you said it was a closed joint, but I think it's a new place.
Yes, this
like a new chain that's coming down here.
I do owe you an apology. I thought you were referring to a place called Chicks, which was on the corner of Johnson and Federal. You were talking about this new stand called Hot Chicks, which is getting ready to open on
it's one of a few new places that are coming.
It's right at the corner on. It's where the intersection of like Southeast 7th Street in Dania, and it used to be a Checkers. I don't know how you feel about Checkers.
But, you know what? I don't know that I have any. It seems like it's okay, Checkers. No,
Checkers, for whatever reason, checked out at that corner, even though I thought it did lively business there. The COVID, whoever the owners were. Now it's this Hot Chicks place. And again, I apologize. I thought you were talking about Chicks, which is another chicken restaurant that went out of business.
So do we know anything about Hot Chicks? Is it good?
Well, we do.
Like it would be good.
It's opening any day. It's featuring some of the Nashville style hot chicken in sandwich form and tenders and nuggets.
All
And
right.
they also, it looks like they're going to have some mac and cheese. It
Oh,
looked like there were people working feverishly. There was yellow like tape around it, but it wasn't a crime scene. It was
It
just
wasn't
kind of
police
getting
tape?
ready.
No? All right.
No, it's getting ready to open any day. And because it's in my hood, I am
You're going to
eagerly
check it out? Oh, good. Good.
anticipating.
Yeah.
I will eat the whole menu on an upcoming lunchbox because that's what
All
I
right.
do.
Very
Like,
good.
can
Yeah.
I
We'll
get
get you
to
a
this
big
spot
bucket.
already?
Yeah.
It was great to see Neki Mohand and great to introduce her to the seafood at Even Keel Fish Shack yesterday. She enjoyed it very much, and we always enjoy spending time with her to show off all the different culinary
I like
diversity
that she eats the entire time. She
goes
doesn't
right
stop,
for it.
which is
she
great.
puts
In
me
the
to
spirit of the
shame.
show. Yeah. That's
And
great.
somehow she manages to still get her words out without spitting food all over the
And it's never
co-hosts, which
Because she has class. It's called
I
class, my friend.
it's called
Yeah.
class. I have none. I have crass, but it's all good. But Visit Lauderdale and Greater Fort Lauderdale wants to welcome everybody under the sun to sample every dish and cuisine under the sun because that's what we're all about here, along with our terrific beaches and other attractions like the upcoming NHL All-Star game. Who
Yes.
knew that the
When is
NHL
that? Is that
All-Stars
next week?
It's
it
this week.
is February. No, it is February 4th and 5th. It's that
Okay.
gap week in
Sunday
between the championship games and the Super Bowl. So that gap week is when the NHL All Stars come down here and put on an offensive display. I don't even think they have goalies. They just let them just slide the puck in, and the over under on that game is about 82 for a hockey game. So
It used to be an annual annuity, where you could bet the over on the NHL All Star game. But I don't even think they play like a game of hockey anymore.
yeah.
I think they just do a bunch of stuff. And I'm not even sure there is an actual game. I really
No,
mean
you're
that
thinking
in all
about the Pro
sincerity.
Bowl because all they do there is they have a craps
Right.
tournament. They're in
But
Vegas.
do they actually play an
And-
NHL All Star game? I don't know that they do.
Yes, they
They do?
do.
Oh,
They
all right.
they do highlight, and there's some terrific young talent. What's his name? Connor McDavid or Connor McHenry or Connor
McDavid
McDonough?
is great. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and all those. And I heard you mentioning Vancouver the other day and trashing it and say, "Oh, you'd rather go to Winnipeg?" No, you would
I
not.
didn't say that. I just said that nobody knows anything about it.
Since
And my
Vancouver
man
is
Bruce
a
Boudreau got fired from the job there, which was ugly.
Vancouver is a lovely city. They hosted
Yeah.
the Winter Olympics. It is on the Pacific Northwest coast. There are 3 cities in the Pacific Northwest that are gorgeous and beautiful that you want to go to. One is
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon, one is Seattle, Washington, and the other one just above Seattle, Washington is Vancouver, British Columbia. Great Asian community, great Chinese restaurants there. They have a Chinatown that rivals
Can you get an
any in
authentic New
New
York Chinese? there?
Yeah, and there's also like
You know, you
Vancouver-
lost your sense of humor. I mean, you really have. This job has made you rigid.
You've killed it.
this whole
You've
thing.
just stomped it out of me with your in nonstop needling. But the no, Winnipeg is like minus 70 as an average in February. You don't.
Oh,
wanna go
I
to
wasn't comparing
Winnipeg.
because we know Vancouver's a beautiful place because they shoot a lot of movies there. I mean, they use it as a backdrop
Right.
for a lot of good
Edmonton
stuff.
is a great place if
Yeah.
you want to basically
Be an escort.
pump for oil or herd cattle.
Yeah.
But Vancouver is the place you want to go if you want to have a nice time, as is Greater Fort Lauderdale, because
There you
unlike
go.
Vancouver,
I'd rather
we
be
have-
here. I got to
We
say.
have beaches. How'd you like the way I brought that back to the
That was
spot?
good. I mean, you're
which-
starting. Your mind's starting to work instead of just spacing right out and drifting off into a, "Hey,
Well,
Lubie,
I
what are we
want-
doing
you know.
next?" Which is good.
So, dockside dining with breathtaking views, lively cafes along Los Olas Boulevard, award-winning chefs, and we're going to get to that in the next segment about our man Timon and the Catherine Restaurant getting James Beard Foundation recognition, semifinalist as best chef in the South, and that's the
Wow.
first recognition for a Broward restaurant in I don't know how long. I put the question out to the group, but again, we have a world-class culinary scene building right here in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and I think Brandon Solomon out at Evelyn's at the Four Seasons, he deserves some beard recognition, and I'm going to be lobbying for that for next year. So again, it's a growing culinary scene. It's the place to be and hang out, come stay and play, experience taste sensations at more than 4,000 area restaurants like the redone Runway 84 and
Yes.
explore thrilling nightlife and the Visit Lauderdale Ale Trail, the speakeasies and the rooftop bars, etc., etc. It's a never-ending culinary and libation celebration in Greater Fort Lauderdale, and everyone's invited. So for more information, please go to visitlauderdale.com.
Dynamite dining scene down here. Well, we don't have to apologize to any city in the world
it's all
for
good.
what we have going on from a restaurant standpoint.
That's it.
And
All
the
right,
choices, the availability, and the different levels of quality. It's just amazing what you have going on down here.
It really is.
Okay. We got good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, let's do a couple of double some business, and then we'll be back to do another break after this break on the Lunchbox. People come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent. Are we back? We're back. We're back on the Lunchbox, and I want to sing the praises of some of the local chefs. And like I was mentioning, the James Beard Awards, the James Beard Foundation, they have their annual awards for chefs and restaurants, and also for food journalism and authors and printing, publishing, all that stuff. It's known as the Oscars of the food industry. Some people said it's that people make too much of it. Some people say it wasn't especially representative and it overlooked a lot of deserving people and places and tend to favor expensive French and European centered things. They took a breather for a year during COVID. They reimagined the judging panels, and now they're again striving to recognize diversity, all different kinds of chefs, all different types of restaurants. And the list of semifinalists that they put out yesterday kind of proves it. I was really, really happy to see some of the this year's honorees. And what happens is they basically announce these semifinalists. There's about 20 in each category. They have these regional chef awards for like chefs in Florida and the South. And they also have national awards of best overall restaurant, best wine program, best baker, things like that. And South Florida was well represented in all these categories, Defo. And I just want to give quick props because, it used to be all the ones that did get recognized from South Florida were in the 305 in Miami. And this year, there was tremendous diversity because of the six regional chefs, 6 of the 20 for the South were from South Florida.
Nice.
And basically 5 of those 6 were from Broward and Palm Beach, and actually only 1 was from Broward. That was Tiemann for the Catherine. And we're going to be talking with him tomorrow for 10 minutes. He couldn't do the show today, but he's obviously ecstatic. He's been recognized before for some of his work down in Miami at Sugarcane, and also a place that he called Baloo. But this is, I think, the first Broward restaurant to be recognized since maybe ever. I know that there are some Broward chefs, like people who were in Broward who got recognized by the Beard Foundation when they were in Miami, like Mark Militello, and then he opened Mark's Las Olas, which was a really good restaurant for a lot of years. But I don't think a Broward-based restaurant has been honored by the Beard Foundation since I could remember, probably 10, 15 years. So, so congratulations to Tiemann. And then places up in Palm Beach that a big fan of this place called Oceano Kitchen in Lantana that is run by this husband and wife couple. It's Jeremy and Cindy Behrman, that he used to be a chef at a Michelin star restaurant in New York City. They came down here and they opened this dream place after he worked for my friend Giovanni. down at Valentino, opened up a place called One Door East. But anyway, Jeremy and Cindy opened this Oceano Kitchen, and it's like a little small place, but every day the menu changes with quality ingredients. They got recognized by the Beards finally, so I'm happy for them. My friend Pushkar Marath, who used to work at
You talked about him a lot.
yeah, Pushkar is also very, very friendly with all the chefs that started at 3030 at the Marriott Harbor Beach in Fort Lauderdale. And he started off with them, with Brad and Dave from Even Keel and Paula De Silva at the Burlock Coast at the Ritz Carlton, and all these people in town are big fans of Pushkar, and he got recognized for his place stage. So it was good. It was a good showing, and some of the venerable stalwarts of the South Florida food scene. Michelle Bernstein got recognized for her Cafe La Trova as best bar. Michael Schwartz for Michael's Genuine Kitchen was recognized. He's in the running for outstanding chef nationally. My friend Michael Beltran, who runs Ariette in Coconut Grove, he's just killing it there. And besides getting a Michelin star, Ariette is now in the running for the national award as outstanding restaurant. So
nice.
it's just like, yeah, there was some really good recognition. I'm happy to see it. I'm sorry to bore everybody. And the way it works is like I always said in journalism, like I didn't do it for awards. I didn't care about awards. But when I got nominated for one, it was
Cool.
great. It
Yeah,
was
it's
like
cool.
you actually recognized or won one of them. So I think people do sometimes tend to overstress Michelin stars and these beard awards, but they can be very valuable, and it is also just it's satisfying to be recognized by your peers. So that's it. That's my spiel.
Where does that? Okay, like where does the beer when you're a chef, right, or a chef who becomes an owner, whichever the delineation is? What does Michelin stand compared to James Beard? Because the way they talk about it feels like Michelin is something that's become big, and they'll take it. But it feels like they focus on the James Beard stuff a lot. Like as a chef, that just is held in a different.
It's held in higher regard because Michelin is a secretive process, and it stems from a travel guide that started in France
It's
over
like
100 years ago. And now this guide has become seen as this Bible among these foodies, the foodies that the chefs secretly hate and loathe. I hope I'm not one of them, but it's funny. I rewatched the movie The Menu again last night with my daughter while we were dog sitting my friend's house up in Deerfield. But The Menu lampoons and pokes a lot of fun of that whole culture of obsessive foodies and haughty egotistical critics,
turning the
and
lights
none
off,
of those
keeping
things.
the lights.
Oh
And
yeah, no, not even that, but just taking a picture of every dish that comes in front of you. And I'm guilty as charged on some of these things, uh but to answer your question, the Michelin guide is a mysterious thing. These inspectors don't say who they are. You don't know when they're coming in. And they're only in certain cities, and a lot of it's pay to play, not by the restaurant, by the tourism board of the city itself. Like Miami and Orlando paid Michelin to come in and have a guide for those cities, but not for all of Florida. So, worthy places like that would be in West Palm Beach or in Broward don't even get considered. Now, I think that might be changing, but that's why the chefs kind of they Michelin guide is important, and they love getting the 3 stars. But I think you're right in that the Beard Foundation, which is it's a nominating process and judging panels that are similar to the Oscars, where it's people in the industry, both restaurant owners and some journalists and cookbook authors and things like that. But there's various panels. I never really got in with that crowd because I wasn't in the food game that long. Carlos Frias from the Herald and now WLRN, he was heavily active with them, and he's on some of their panels that do the I guess some of the nominees and assessing and weighing who gets to be a semifinalist. But it's like everything else, baseball Hall of Fame. It has its drawbacks, it has its injustices. All it's the system that's there, and yeah, the chefs do kind of take it. It's like I said, they try not to too much dwell on it, but it does mean something to them when they get recognized. So. And I was here. Defo is just like sitting this out. We
Well,
have
you're explaining this stuff. I'm
yeah,
listening.
yeah, no. But I'm just wondering, I'm going to take a complete right hand turn now because somebody was asking me, Dave Hyde actually, about food dishes at local restaurants named after local athletes or prominent local sports figures. I couldn't come off, and I said, "What triggered this, Dave?" I said, "Dave, I know that the Runway 84 just reopened. They have a Marino room, and that the original runway, the coal-fired pizza place had a Marino pizza pie that
They
had
had a marine
eggplant on."
plant dish.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah,
big thing.
yeah. But he said he shot back. He said this was triggered because he was at a place, I don't know where, that has something named after Art Kehoe.
Art
Oh
That's
yeah. What was Art Kehoe down in
he was
Short
great.
Ribs?
Yeah,
I could see him at Shorty's down there when that place was. I guess they were sold, but Shorty's Ribs, which was a long time
I
staple down there in
lunch.
the Coral Gables area, that would be Art Kehoe's kind of joint, no?
yeah, I have no idea. I can't even remember who Art Kehoe was. He
Oh,
was
Art
like a
Kehoe was a
UM
great guy.
assistant.
He
Oh,
was one of the most likable, enthusiastic guys ever associated with the University of Miami. Longtime offensive line
Yeah,
coach.
that's it.
They
Yeah.
kind of shafted him after. I mean, he had survived a bunch of coaching changes. I think he
every
was
coach
there for
Kehoe.
Howard and
Oh, yeah.
then Jimmy, and he lasted through Dennis Erickson and Butch.
Butch Davis even
And
had
then somebody came in and aced him out, and that was the end of the program right there.
I think I did see a Cam Cameron dish at my local.
Very
It was
bland,
I
it's
think it was at
broth.
Jackson's. It was
Yeah,
a vanilla scoop of vanilla ice cream between white bread with mayonnaise. It was incredible.
yeah. What about I mean, how did Jack Studiali avoid consideration for or not get consideration for a James Beard Award with Tropical Acres? Come on, Mike.
Oh, well, there's some places that are just perennials. Joe Stonecrab doesn't get nominated for Beard Awards, and it's just one of these iconic places that just does what it does. And but yeah, to me, I think if I were to have a personal award and call it the Mayo Awards, of course, Tropical Acres would be in the Hall of Fame
yeah,
because
for sure.
it is the place that I go to for celebrations and also just just any old day of the week, particularly on Monday and Tuesday when there's half price wine night and I get happy hour in the bar and all those great deals. And you want to go there too to check it out. If you've never been, you go in there, get yourself a cocktail at the bar during happy hour. If you want, get a coconut shrimp. Don't totally ruin your appetite. Then go sit down, get yourself a
Yep,
prime rib or a filet mignon. Comes
yep.
with a salad and a side dish. Get a bottle of the wine on a Tuesday night, and you're in heaven. It's a great deal, good quality, great hospitality, and best of all, it's the value. Now, there is a Tuesday night upcoming where there won't be a half price wine night, and that's going to be Valentine's Day. February 14th, it's a big day on the restaurant calendar. They still have availability, and you want to give them a call at 954-989-2500. 954-989-2500 at Tropical Acres. That's 2500 Griffin Road out west there in Dania. Because, that's a great place to go for a romantic evening. And, my mom's 90th birthday is coming up. We might have to get in there for the early bird to celebrate. Again, Tropical Acres, the Studiali family, they know how to get it done. It's award winning in my book. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, we're going to come back and wrap up today's edition, a swift-moving edition of the Lunchbox here with Mike Mayo
Yeah,
tomorrow
when you spend
out there
20
at Gulfstream
minutes.
Park. That'll be great, and looking forward to that. We'll have the contest going tomorrow, so back to finish things off in a moment.
You like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you.
Looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more? Go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. And we're back on the Lunchbox, and boy, we went overtime today a little bit, but boy, anytime we get Anthony Bruno on the horn, it was good to talk with him again. It's been a while. I did leave him alone, so maybe that will score me some brownie points. And I could get back in the good graces and actually.
You got to get by that Vincenzo guy at the door.
Well, I'm gonna make things right with Vincenzo.
Say hello to him properly this time.
Oh no, this time I'm gonna, I'll apologize and show up with all kinds of gifts and trinkets and expressions of gratitude. That was, hey, you know what happens? We live in a cashless society now, and it's like, when you need that, and I guess this is the other question for whether
you're going to a restaurant and you're going to demand a table on a Saturday night when they're otherwise shutting out Marino. And you have to carry a little cash on you to take care of the valet park.
And you go into a restaurant on a Saturday night after you've already been to Gulfstream and visited the ATM.
There are ATM machines. Oh, okay. So you tapped out the ATM bankroll.
The date is called the daily limits. It happened to be a bad day.
I guess you got crushed. You probably should have stayed home, taking your own advice. You always give these people if you can't afford to take the major D and take care of them, yeah.
No, actually, it wasn't a day I was tapped out. I'm lying about that. I just was in a rush and I didn't get to an ATM. And then next thing I know, it's like, just didn't have. What is the appropriate tip for a party of two on a crowded Saturday night? Let's say at a
place like that, you got to get the guy at 20, no?
20 ahead. I was
20 for the two people.
Really?
I'm just talking about
I consider that a little bit beneath me.
I mean, if you have a reservation, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of debate about that. If you have a reservation and the person takes you to the table, do you always greet them? I don't know.
But let's just say it was one of those 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning reservations, except instead of being like 7 or 8 hours before the reservation.
Think Henry Hill at all times. Henry Hill treatment. You want to take care of everybody.
He had C notes. He just kept dishing out the C notes. And this was a case where I might have texted Anthony about 2 hours before my intended arrival.
Remember when Karen says, "That's $10 you gave him."
Back then, 10 was
the equivalent of a stick.
Like a stick. These days,
no doubt about it.
That's it.
All right, where are you off to, Mike Mayo? Where are your Dixteen travels taking you? Anywhere?
Well, no, tonight is the boxing and rib competition in Del Rey. I assume you're a scratch.
Yeah, I'm a scratch on that. I think.
Yeah, it's just too far of a distance for you, especially on the big, busy Fridays. But we're going to be at Gulfstream tomorrow.
Well, the Mustang's not a meat eater, so she probably wouldn't enjoy that much.
Yeah, no, she would hate it then. It's nothing but ribs. Right. Nothing but ribs and red
probably
meat.
Not a great thing. Here, sweetheart, here's 20. Go find yourself something to eat.
Yeah.
And I'm slobbering down ribs with Mike Mayo. That wouldn't go over well.
Plenty of booze there, so that should suit.
Well, that would satisfy her for sure.
So, hey, Gulfstream tomorrow. We're going to come up with a contest answer.
I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we'll put on our thinking caps and we'll have another contest. They're going really well, and people are winning, and people are booking their dates. And one person has actually gone and enjoyed themselves at the 10 Palms Sunday brunch.
It's a great
So
deal.
that's
Good
gonna be
price.
tomorrow. And if you're around, come on out to Gulfstream tomorrow. There is no admission tomorrow, but you'll get all the pre-race hype and hoopla for the Pegasus
Nice.
World Cup, which is on Saturday. If you want to go out there for that, there is admission. You go to PegasusWorldCup.com or GulfstreamPark.com to get all the details. We'll see you out there tomorrow. Until then, for Mike Lubie Lubitz and Jeff Defo DeForest, and thanking Anthony Bruno, this is Mike Mayo saying enjoy every non-Arby's sandwich.